How should you start your tomato seedlings? There are various different ways. Last year I tried in a tray like this, and in this video, this year, I'm going to try something a little bit different. Not only am I going to show you how I started my seeds, I'm going to take you from seed to table. I'm using the same seed starting mix that I used last year. You know, check that out in another video. But this year I'm trying these big trays with drainage holes in the bottom instead of using the cellular trays that I used last year. So let's fill these up. I like to give my seed starting mix a good watering in before I plant my seeds. And here I'm just using a little stick to create a guideline, if you will, of where I'm going to be planting my seeds. So it's obvious to me when they start popping up where they're coming out. Now this year I'm using the Brandywine tomato from Amers Organics. So let's get these seeds in here. And we'll cover them up. As you see here, I have two trays, so I've decided to also plant some Swiss chard, maybe some cucumbers and some lettuces. But I put them here in my little semillero, and the tomatoes came up about 4 days later, and so did the other plants, but the mice ate everything except for the tomato seedlings because, well, mice aren't stupid. Tomato plants are poisonous. Now, don't freak out. It's the compound is solanine. It's toxic, but it's not going to kill you. But don't take my word for it. Do some research. Okay, so I'm just clearing the mulch off the garden bed here. Looks like it's done its job. It's nice and moist, and just getting this ready to get those tomato plants in. These plants are about 2 weeks old after initial sprouting. Okay, so I'm just scooping them out, trying to maintain whatever root ball I may find down there. And not a huge amount of roots, but I think that will do the trick. So I like to go with the style, the trench style. Kind of dig a long trench here, and I lay the seedling, the little tomato plant, down on its side, remove the initial seed leaves, and bury it on its side with the plant sticking up. The idea behind that is creating a larger root ball, because every surface of that stem of the tomato plant is going to grow roots. That's the idea anyway. So take off the seed leaves, lay it down on its side, turn it up, and bury that little tomato plant in there. Oh, look at this, plastic. The bane of my existence. I hate finding plastic in the garden. But anyway, continue. Now that I have them in here, I'm going to water them in, make some nice contact with the soil onto the roots. Now, you may have noticed that the leaves are kind of a little different. They call this the potato leaf tomato plant. Kind of smooth edges, look like a potato leaf, as opposed to the other kind, which are kind of the normal serrated tomato leaves. And that's a characteristic of this Brandywine variety, the smooth potato-like leaves. Now I'm replacing the mulch to conserve the moisture for these little plants. See that wall back there? That's an apartment building for lizards, and I'll tell you what happened in a bit. Now, as they grow, I'm going to need a little tutor system or a support. So luckily, here in the Canary Islands, we have a Spanish cane, which I am lucky to have growing all over the place. So what I do is I go out and I harvest some of these canes, get the old hory knife out, and get busy stripping them down and getting them ready to use for my tomato trellis. Here we are a month later, and these tomato plants are in need of some help. So in the past I've just stuck the cane in the ground, but it proved to not be very supportive, so I'm just getting the pickaxe out here and doing a little heavy work to give the cane a little more depth. So I got out early in the morning before the sun came up over the hill, because that can be hot here when the sun really gets going strong. Okay, almost there. Now I'm just going to cut a few more pieces of cane for some support beams, and let's get this tied together. Here's my bench that Jorge made me. If you want to check out how he did that, I got another video on the bench and how the bench is useful for saving your back. This is the twine that I use, biodegradable twine. Comes in very handy. Got a spool of it, and I use it all over the place, really. Let it grow. What I like to do is help these little self-pollinating flowers with my electric toothbrush. Get them a little hand pollinating, and as I told you before, those lizards started eating plants, so that's why I put these plastic protectors on them to keep them from the lizards. There's a tomato, and more came after that. And in the end, here it is on the cutting board, a beautiful little brandywine tomato, which ended up just tasting very nice. Great in a salad with lettuce from the garden. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I wish you the best of luck with your tomato journey. If you have any suggestions, please let me know in the comments.